Hello, everyone, and aloha. It's been quite a while. I've been fighting flesh, eating bacteria for the second time, along with the spiritual warfare attacks, and it's been much, and I have a lot to share with you guys. But again, you guys know I shoot from the hip. I might touch back on things for the new viewers, and like studying, sometimes we need to hear things more than once till it's like, oh, it clicks, or another way it might be presented, or alongside something else, or just where our current state of mind is, it sinks in for more of what it is, or all of what it is. And through my whole journey, my process, to me it's quite obvious, holy shit, I was autistic growing up. I was put at the small table. I didn't know I had dyslexia until I was an adult, and I had someone who was a teacher, and a couple other people who had a form of dyslexia be like, oh girl, you have dyslexia too. And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, yes, you do. And I'm like, what? And like, just to say the least, give you an example, the lady who's a teacher and a mother to a friend of mine, she was like, oh, all they needed to do is give you a ruler, so when you read, you focus on what's right there by the ruler. And there's just a lot more to say about it, but I was very socially awkward. But when you have a twin, people come to you, but inside I was always dying. I remember having a 7th grade roller skating party that my older sister convinced my mom to give us, to make us bring us happiness, and it was dreadful, every bit of it. I liked roller skate, but having all these kids and stuff, it just was too much. And I realized as an adult, I'm like that. But when I'm around other people that I would refer to as star children, or people that we are not from this realm, I feel normal, and it almost like winds me up, But also how my mind processes things with the ADHD. I'm attention deficit, not, like I can't focus. It's just when you're being a teacher and a guide, it's better if you can give things in a format of study. And I don't have the time and patience to do that. I can give the information. I do plan to document it all, and so there are hard copies of it all, and videos and understanding to leave with people and leave behind. But in the midst of, if any of you know what flesh-eating bacteria is like, it's horrible. It takes a long time to, if you don't take their antibiotics with Western medicine, it can take a very long time to heal naturally. And that just leads me, now I'll just go into what I've been healing from, because it's good information for y'all as the times come and power gets shut off and there aren't going to be medications. At some point, the oceans will be cleansed, and you can go back in there for cleansing, and it's great for flesh-eating bacteria. But the thing is, the darker forces are putting a bacteria, have been, right? And it's just kind of becoming more of an issue now. They've been putting it in the air, they've been putting it in the water now, everywhere. And those with compromised immune systems, I mean, you might as well sign your death certificate, especially if you do go to the hospital. Because what I have learned, and it took me a while to get there with the divine kept showing me electrical eels, and I wasn't getting it. I'm like, yeah, I get we can be pretty magnificent beings. People don't understand the vaccinations, the food, how it's preventing us from really stepping into our power, or whatever those powers are. And the whole Marvel comics isn't such a fantasy thing, where we're being prevented from evolving into our God-given powers, and to say the least. But so many ways the divine has pointed out what we call miracles. And it's like, look at the caterpillar turns into a butterfly. Hello, it gained freaking wings. It gained appendages that it didn't have. Like humans can do this too. Why is it that these abnormal children are born and they're looked at as freaks or whatnot. No, some situations there's, you know, deformities happening, but some it's like where they come from, that's not Earth. And that's another thing I need to go in and teach you guys about on what Earth is, why we're here. Some of us, you know, different reasons, but the different reasons of why we're here, what's really going on here. But starting with the flesh-eating bacteria, because with all this destruction and this disaster that's happening, Divine brought me to before they knew what it was here in Hawaii happening to people. They thought, oh, it's staph, it's MRSA, it's this. And I'm like, no, I'm told it's not. Sure enough, I know people going to the doctor, they're getting tested and it's not. So they're like kind of stumped. This is over the last like year and a half or so. So that second time around having it, and I'm not talking about just one, you know, mark or one lesion, many, you know, and they're very painful. They don't heal for months, okay? And they're very tricky. What I learned about that particular type of bacteria is why we see 99.9% bacteria gets killed is because the other percent, the what, 0.1%, it's all evil man-made shit, the viruses and all that, to say the least. But they're being made by the 1%, which are ETs, not common people. That's why people don't understand why the government is, you know, they're constantly fighting the government for equality and all of this, because it's like they are beings in their realm that they were banished to with powers that we don't have controlling us. That's what's going on. And they've created a system that we can't leave this freaking plane or realm without a higher consciousness connected to our ancestors. So they know where we are, lost and found. I'm going to give it to you guys on speed because that's all I got right now. And then I'll recap and go back. But, you know, take note what I'm saying. Hello, you know, I was lost, but now I'm found. What song is that? You know, it's a freaking church song. You're lost and found because you got freaking either stolen and put down here, or your own family and wherever in the universe you belong to put you down here because you were too powerful, or you had some things you needed to get right. And more so than anything, you were stolen and put down here and to be lost. And a lot of people not in the same body, because with what they call the Galactic Federation, that might sound like a big word that make people think, oh my God, this chick is crazy. As above, so below. We got feds down here. They got feds up there, okay? In the big universe, okay? They've got your divine council for each whatever planet, and then they've got the Galactic Federation, which means all these people that are like the Supreme Court who research, decide, check into, because the universe is so big. So what happens is people get lost because they got stolen, put in a different body. You hear the invasion of the body snatchers. That shit is real. And they're not found. So the reason why you have to raise your consciousness is to connect, mind link yourself, and find your ancestors. Be open to your ancestors communicating to you, because they come to you. People think it's just Jesus Christ. No, it's the man that they call Jesus, who is a shaman like I, and he can come help lead people home like I, right? That's our job in being healers, right? That's our job in this whole big universe, okay? Again, to say the least. Bought and paid for, people say, right? Because there's contracts. So it's kind of like a bounty hunter. You got people going out and killing people, and you got people like Jesus that can go help retrieve you. But who's going to come to this freaking realm? Not everybody can teleport. Not everybody can have the same powers, all right? Okay, so bought and paid for, it's kind of like, hey, there's a stripper in the club, and some guy walks in and he's like, shit, I want to take her up out of this place. And this guy's like, nah, I ain't gonna let her go for nothing but 20 grand, 25 grand. That's my hoe, you know? Bought and paid for, that's basically like what Jesus, that means. You know, when they say Jesus Christ, but you're bought and paid for, it's because there's exchanges in the beyond, payments, debts, credits, okay? So let's go back to the flesh-eating bacteria. All these viruses and stuff, they are created by the ETs that walk amongst us. You know, well, some of us are, but our powers are stripped. Some of us came here without any, you know, and most of us are just being prevented by the food system, spiritual warfare, attack on our bodies, so we can't heal to even escape the realm, basically. And I know it's kind of all over the place, but think of it like this. The earth has all of, and not saying I was getting to the bacteria, but I'm going here first. Think of you got all these planets, right? And Earth is just one of them. And if you believed in, say, creatures, humans, right? Categories to describe the different walks of life, let's say vampires, okay? Vampires meaning they feed off of people. I'm sure y'all know people you might call energetic vampires. And then you've heard some of those stories probably where people are quite literally saying, we eat babies, we drink blood, because they fucking do. And you're going to hear more stories of people coming forward and telling you their horror stories and what they fucking ran into. So the thing is, the way fantasies have presented demons, vampires, and witches to us has been very bad, very poor on most sides of things. But just as anything else, you have your good and you have your bad. So if you look at Earth as being banishment for the vampires in this multi-universe, right, where they were such a problem that they got sent to Alcatraz, basically. You hear the Alcatraz prison, which is getting opened up again, and I'm going to tell you why that is because with all the work I've done, all of that's been researched through me, and I'm sure others, but those in the beyond that have been hurting us and working with the people in this realm, they coming down here and they going to Alcatraz. And that's why people hear like the end of all times, because at some point it was known that Earth would have to be destroyed, meaning cleansed again from the bacterias, the viruses, these parasites, these parasitical beings that eat people, eat animals, convince people that they need to eat animals. They play with people's minds. You know, you got witches down here, that's their specialty, but vampires can do it too. You got hybrids, you got triple bloods, you got quadruple bloods because they mix with humans. And I mean, that's a whole nother story, which again, I'll break all this down, but I'm giving it to you on speed because I only have so much time and so much focus. Anyone watching these videos should be enlightened enough that they get where I'm going. They've seen enough. So you take Earth as just being another place, but like Alcatraz, it's banishment, and some of us shouldn't be locked up down here, right? But back where we're from, they scared of the power that we have, where they just, you know, want to be on top, should I say. They want to do their bullshit and not have to pay the price. So they take the light and they send us down here, snatch us out of our bodies, and we go through hell. Earth is fucking hell for most of us. So these ETs create this system of healthcare because they can document you and everything, so they know how to get their sorcerers, wizards, whatever you want to call them, people with the power to remotely attack you and your internal system and your mind and push you over the edge. Those things are completely real. Those people, those powers, they're completely real. They created the system of healthcare that's really for their people, not for those of light, okay? And the food system. And they have certain symbology on the food to know which is appropriate to buy and won't hurt them or whatnot, okay? Our DNAs are different, you know? So, they test our blood, and then, hey, like, some of them drink blood. On Earth, my twin sister, she told me a long time ago, it was like, gosh, blood banks would be really smart, to this effect. It's not verbatim, but this is what I took from the conversation, was her saying, like, dang, because she watched things like Grimm and whatnot, and I didn't watch that, but I learned that I am the Grimm from some minimal clips that Divine has showed me. I don't know the series, haven't watched it, even though it's where I was born and raised. Portland, Oregon is where they filmed it. But she watched those things. We watch different shows usually, not quite the same stuff all the time. But she brought up about blood banks and like how that would be really smart for if there were vampires that they established blood banks on. Absolutely right. Not only that, because they can decode our DNA. They now have created a food system that is between what they put in the air, what they put in the water, what they put in the vaccinations. When you are not from this realm, it is hard to be healthy and not given, and then become dark, basically, because you're willing to eat meat. And that, where you might not be like this horrible person, you might not be the most pleasant, you might not be the most forgiving, you might not be kind to animals, you might be kind to animals, but you still eat them like another soul, So what I've learned with the electrical eels and all of that, and how miraculous this world can be, what we can transform into is, an electric eel, you grab that and in the water, you could freaking die, right? Well, that's the 1% bacteria, or the 0.1, I guess, is how that would be, because they say 99.99, because the 1% they know can't cure is radio freaking active. And they've presented radioactive in the movies and stuff in a way that our minds just don't really wrap around it. And kind of, I think, for people who are not really science-based or curious or scientific at all, it's very far-fetched to think, oh, radioactive, that's just like when shit goes to hell and it's like nuclear war. No. It's basically like these little bacteria organisms that are radioactive, just like an eel. So it's not curable unless you dig that shit up out of your body. And when they latch on, they latch on. It's hard. It's a process from like when it scabs over to get the scab off, scrape it out. If you don't have numbing agents, which I don't, it's very fucking painful just to be with it, let alone remove it. And you don't get just one. It's like they pop up and they keep popping up till you learn what to do. What I've learned was, dang, both times in this last year going to the hospital, which only did because the blood clot and then the attempted suicide, my immune system was crashed both times. And the regenerative products that I normally eat, like cacao, coconut oil, these regenerative properties, I didn't realize were that beneficial. So it took me a while till I got back on that track of, I realized that during this period, I wasn't eating the cacao regularly, and I wasn't eating the coconut oil. And then I was eating cacao, but it wasn't working. And I realized because some products, they've got the certification, which, sometimes you can only trust the certifications for so long, but it will say regenerative certified, okay? Some may say like cacao helps regenerate stem cells. I don't know on the science end, but that sounds pretty miraculous on what it can do for your body and why you need it. Well, once I started applying those back into my diet is when I started to get better, but it's still a slow, long process. I'm still healing, and I still have a couple wounds that are still healing, and my body's just absolutely been through it, no matter me eating really, really extremely well or not. And then you have these carnivorous, insects, I don't know if I said that right, carnivores of insects and microscopic ones in these freaking, you know, apartments like I'm patting away right now. The bacteria is just yummy to more like flies. But the thing is, you get bit by those things and it just makes it way fucking worse. Or by a cockroach. I didn't know cockroaches bite till I was in a lady's car that she let me use, and the freaking cockroach, it was daylight, and I was like, ow, and I'm like, oh my god, they bite, you know, holy shit, I knew I was getting bit at night, you know. And long story short, a buddy explained to me, yeah, they will, if there's no food, which I'm clean, not gonna have it in the car, they started turning, because she had the cockroaches before I got in the car, started living in the car, they'll turn on each other, eat each other, and or a human, right? And they can chew through a freaking bag. It's crazy. But let's get back to the bacteria. So the bacteria is very dangerous, and a lot of people die from it because it's radioactive. I'll jump into something else, but it's connected. Divine took me to this guy. He had some strawberries, and every time he brought them to his water, towards the water, the Bluetooth light on his sink, which I don't know what that really operated, lit up, and he's like, what the heck what is that? Well, putting all the puzzle pieces together over time, and not eating fresh foods like salads and stuff like that, but only when Divine said yes I could, I didn't understand. Okay, I can't, they must be using pesticides or something. You don't want me to eat this fruit, you don't want me to eat, and you don't want me to have that lettuce? And it's like, nope. And so I was eating pretty much like dead food to survive, or, you know, really expensive superfoods, you know, and just liquid, and for the longest. So you know, I don't know, I can eat more now, but I didn't have the answers then. I just listened, and I'm so glad I listened, because as I saw reports come out, there's reports that, like, say lettuce, they are growing them with vaccinations, and they're not telling people. And they're like, oh, people should know, you know. And it's like, yeah, right, they don't know to go, you know, search what database to make sure this lettuce grown from this place is not grown with vaccinations. So this is how they destroyed, you know, why you see people and they like eat nothing but salad, and they don't understand why it's not anymore about what used to be nutritious. They are poisoning the foods in so many ways, including with radioactive properties. So you got bacteria that's radioactive, and this guy's putting the strawberries to rinse them off, and it's lighting up his electrical unit to his Bluetooth symbol on the side of his sink. And he's like, what's going on? Because things are radioactive now. And then I got to a point when I got the bacteria the second time. And, I mean, a run of it, okay? Meaning like having at least 7 lesions, you know, and curing those over months. The first time I was able to cure it really fast, within 6 to 9 weeks of diligence, of going to the ocean, get in, enjoy the water, be at peace with the water during the day, let it dry out, let the sun hit it, but it likes heat. It's very touchy, these things, because you cover them up and they will expand. And then there's a certain point in time you got to not cover them up and let them get air. And then it's like, but you know, they're very sensitive to if anything else falls on it. It's this freaking game of war. Like, this bacteria is its own army. And so what I learned, how I cured the first time, while everyone around me is not knowing what the hell's going on, they're giving in, going to get antibiotics. I went to the ocean. Like, people said, don't do that. And I'm like, no, it's clean. It's coming in and out. It's not like sitting. And I was told this is why Jesus went to the river. Like, people have it all backwards for the whole cleansing. Like, this is all bullshit. It was for literal healing, cleansing. I was able to get rid of it. The second time I was told, don't go there. It's not safe at the ocean anymore, because they're putting things in the ocean. all this time passes, then I started to see his article in Florida and other places where they're like, yeah, the beaches and stuff have flesh-eating bacteria and whatnot. You know, these are the evils of man and ET working together and poisoning everything that we could do to heal ourselves so we can evolve and transform. Like the COVID, that happened. Why? So all those souls that, you know, old people tend to kind of like on their deathbed have everything flash before them. Their consciousness is like getting raised from 0 to 99. They're trying to prevent those transformations, okay, so they can keep us here as slaves, as lost, not found. Social Security, the money that they have, and their Social Security, because they're parasites. They live off of people. That's why they have welfare and allow women and men to have child after child, because they're putting slaves out for them. You know, they're bringing in the reincarnations into a low vibrational family where that kid will most likely stay a peasant, a servant, you know, to say the least. So we have all that. And the main thing I want you guys to understand was that the flesh-eating bacteria is very serious if you get it. It's the most excruciating thing I think I've ever dealt with. You gotta do your best to keep your immune system up. If not, get regenerative products like cacao, coconut oil. As I heard one chick tell me one time, she shared with the poison is in the doses, but that's also the healing is in the doses as well. So like you use antibiotics, use these products, you know, the coconut oil and cacao, at least in the day and the night. You might need to use it a few times throughout the day like you would an antibiotic. Foods with probiotic. But the thing is, when you tap into your ancestors, they can lead you to the products that you should purchase. They can do the research that you can't see. And they can tell you yay or nay when you go to that grocery store. That's how serious it is to learn to connect with your ancestors or someone like myself that can, until you do, until you become good at it. Because even at my level, it's hard. You've got spirits coming in trying to fuck with your mind, and it's like being on the phone and you got static coming in, or literally someone busting in, overtaking the conversation, stealing the message. And that's why you gotta learn to feel. You gotta learn to way to communicate with your yeses and your nos, because then they can even intercept your yeses and your nos. They get to learn you, like you are developing your relationship. If you're a really powerful person, you're gonna have the dark side coming for you fierce. And the closer you get, I'll jump over to leaving this place, they coming for you fierce because they don't want you to leave. So there's two things that Divine wanted me to touch up on after all of that. A little bit I already did about what Earth is, but to go back to, there was this whole thing like, why did the celebrities not help? And as obvious as it may seem, I didn't look at it through this direct perception that Divine gave me. Well, Jesus, but you know, I just say Divine for you guys, okay? He wanted me to think about how forgive the language, but pimps and hoes, right? So you got a pimp that's, or escorts, let's go with the escort, right? Male or female. In order to make a certain amount of money, you know, escorts make more than just your hoe, right? Your streetwalker. they got to sell a piece of them, their body. Now, some people don't mind that, right? But I think ultimately anybody does, because I think we're all human in the sense that we want the same things. Love, respect. We would like a true love, but people don't believe in it. So the next best thing in their life is to have money to do whatever with and not depend on somebody and whatnot. So rather than be a street worker, they become an escort, right? And they work to earn what they do to earn that money, right? They prostitute themselves to earn money. How likely you think they are to give that money up when anyone else can go out here and do that too and sell themselves short? Not likely, right? Because they put themselves through hell. They're not likely to be like, yeah, have some of my money that I just went through hell for. When you could go do the same thing if you want to be living like me. Well, that's Hollywood for you. And that's the perspective I didn't look at, because until all this I was told so much by Divine, but as it started to get confirmed in a bigger light with the Diddy stuff and people coming forward, at least as far as what I've been shown. I mean, I can't speak for how long all of that's been going on, because I only go to what I'm told when I'm told. So there's a lot of time I miss in between. But what I've decoded since is that, think of it this way. I think it's safe to say, with all the stories that I've been presented with and the initiations and the way they're running Hollywood, and a lot of people are saying, I sold my soul. Literally, that's the phrase that they're using, is like, you can sell your soul and have whatever you want. That's why people like Jennifer Hudson gets a talk show, Kelly Clarkson gets a talk show. These people got their positions because they prostituted themselves. So basically, Hollywood is the biggest prostitution ring that's known to man, I would say. And so when you look at it this way, and why you always hear all of them say anyone can do it, is because my guess is like 98% of those people have sold themselves in one way or another. Because what you hear from a lot of people is they had to do something or let something be done to them sexually. And some have some good, not good, not as horrible of a story, and some terrifying. Is probably why a lot of them are on drugs and alcohol. Is probably why Miss Grande, I forget her first name, she did the Wicked movie, Ariana. I was taken to a post of her talking about she had a razor, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And Divine explained it to me, like, what happened to her was so horrible, she couldn't get it out of her mind, so she did a race. And I'm like, well, you've got, whoa. And it just opened up my eyes to so much more. And it's like, no wonder they all say anyone can do it. So if you're willing to sell yourself and your soul like they did, then you can have whatever you want to, generally. You just gotta be like a business person and know how to ask for it. And some people dream too small. Some people dream a bit bigger, and then they probably renegotiate and get a jump in their career. And some fall off because they can't deal with what was done to them, the violation of their body, sexually, physically, abuse, and some of the things that Divine shared with me that has happened to these people is just absolutely horrible. And then I'm like, no wonder they're not willing to share their riches, because why would anyone go do something like that and be like, here, yeah, I just got, and I'm gonna be a bit vulgar right now, I just got fucked and hurt and brutalized in my behind, and you want some of my money? Yeah, right. You could go do that. That's most likely a summary, right, of where they're at, which would make absolute sense, and that's how Hollywood keeps them controlled. The horrendous things that they have done, that's on record, and they did it so they could be known, popular. They allowed hurtful things to be done to them so the world would love them and they would make a lot of money, so they would be a movie star. And my understanding is not all of them did, but just about all of them. And one way or another, they all sacrificed something with their soul, their mind, their body, or all of it. And so no, they're not really inclined to share their riches. The other part, and that's probably gonna be a lot to think about, so I leave that there. The other part is Earth. If you look at it as not the simple mindset our teachings want us to know, like the whole map has been a lie, we're learning, and there's places that are actually connected by underground tunnels, meaning continents. Okay, the water does not divide us. There is land that goes, we can walk there. If you dare to believe outside of the box that's been presented to us, and that there are other life forms on other planets, this is not the only one, and that this could quite possibly just be banishment of some or all planets. Well, there's a bunch of portals, connect points, that if you hit it, like Back to the Future, at a certain velocity in space and time, like the movie is talking about, a certain speed, you go through that portal and get home. And what I'm told is there's a lot of people holding real estate where those portals are. So they're blocking the portals to keep us from leaving. They're blocking us from evolving in our bodies and our consciousness to connect with our ancestors so we can be found. It's really that simple. But I'm going to break it down and repeat it more. Because before I come to the island, I started decoding these points of invisible lines. And I'm like, but this doesn't touch ground. And then my friends and I were all tripping off of what I was decoding while we were watching this alien show that they were guided to show me. And they're watching me decode all this stuff. And the fucking TV goes out. And we all look at each other like, what the fuck? Because we know what I'm decoding and we know what's on the television, and it's like, uh-oh, what did we just do? You know? And I'm told by a divine, go look outside. Like, takes me down this like 4-level house, or 3, so 4. Anyways, go downstairs, look out the window. I see an SUV and this cul-de-sac of a neighborhood. It didn't belong, and their whole like computer dash was lit up, and it was just something different about this SUV, right? And I'm gonna jump forward and fast forward just to kind of give you guys a quick look at what I'm talking about. When we left the video, we left it when it went off because it's we wanted a bathroom break, you know, might as well take a moment. And because I was decoding some really heavy shit about just where things line up in this big globe of a planet, and decoding what points are these, you know, what does this mean? I didn't understand that they were portals, and I was being told where they were. Okay, so the TV goes out. 2 of us noticed that it said the program was an hour and like 30 minutes or something, right? But it had it down to the hour, the minute, and the second as far as what we're seeing. I don't know if it was the TV or the video itself. But when we come back, And we turn it on. This is after I saw the SUV out there. And I asked, I was, Divine, is that what you want me to see? Look, this feels weird. This person parked right there, you know, and you know who you come and see? And he's like, yes. So I was like, okay, got it. He's just like, take note. Note taken. We all go back up. The freaking we put the program back on, but now the program says 23 hours, 59 minutes and 59 seconds. And we're like, what the fuck does that mean? And me and the guy that caught it, the other two, they saw it, but they didn't like process it further, like me and the guy. By the time we all processed it, we're turning it like off and on to like see if it's gonna go back to an hour and whatever, and it didn't. Long story short, the guy leaves. I'm gonna finish it. The guy leaves. Me and the girls meditate with each other, sit in a triangle holding hands, and we're not drinking or nothing. And it's probably like 10 at night, and then all of a sudden we wake up the next day with the sun coming up almost 7 o'clock in the morning. At the same time, we rise up. We're in the same spot that we were sitting in a triangle, and I was at the head holding their hands. We woke up black, you know, just like we were laid back. And as we get up, like, are you just getting up? You just getting up? Something took our space and our time. We just blacked out completely. And it was always like, whoa. And that happened before I started my whole journey on this island, right? So now you fast forward to now, and everything that I've decoded and what I was decoding at that time and what was interrupted at that time is because of what I was decoding. Is this earth has all these connective points that are portals. So there's a story, I get taken to a story about these people who were on a flight, and I was told it's real. It's not just a fictional story. It really happened. They disappeared on a flight and returned 35 or so years later, as though it's just like that day or the next day. I don't know. And before Divine showed me that story, kept telling me, Jesus kept telling me, in my realm, time passes much faster than yours. And I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry to give you an idea of time, and that I'm very happy, but it's passing very much fast compared to your time. And I didn't think about that. And I was like, damn, you know, no wonder that flight. And this whole thing with this lady, before I come to this island, a friend took me to her just for energy cleaning, and I got there and she gave me a pineapple and was like, I was told to give you pineapple because your throat, it will help you with your throat. It will clear up your throat. I don't know. I was just told. And I'm like, dang, because I've been, you know, having all these issues trying to sing, get the word out, and always getting these issues with my throat. So I thought that was interesting. Then she gives me a mask mermaid, like a porcelain mask, and a mask of like a Jamaican tribal mask. And she's like, well, these are mine, but I'm told to give them to you because they're your roots. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, you like triangles a lot? I'm like, yeah, I have this kind of like fixation with them. And she's like, yeah, because you're from the Bermuda Triangle. And I'm like, what do you mean? Bermuda, ain't that where things like disappear and whatnot? And she's like, yeah. And it kind of, you know, like, yeah, like she just didn't have much more to give me. And you fast forward to now and all the information I've been given to now, and that's a fucking portal. So that's why people disappear. Because if you're at a certain longitude, latitude, a certain speed and time, that's why our freaking calendars aren't accurate. I've just always had this feeling that they have us on a false sense of time, and sometimes they speed it up and sometimes they slow it down. So why people's digital stuff isn't accurate. But they say if you put that's why people have an actual watch, because it will not lose its time. It will not speed up. It will not it will be accurate if you keep it, if it's got a good battery. And you know batteries used to last for the longest, okay? So then you match another watch with that, so when you do change the battery, you still have this other watch to, you know, keep it right on. That's why it's down to the tick, 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 because it's very important if you want to travel through these portals. But the time difference can be greatly different from one portal to the next. And the thing is, these ETs are entering in and out of places. It's like, you know, they say teleporting, okay? Well, there you go. That's what teleporting is. They're coming in through these portals. Not everybody can do it, and not everybody knows how to do it, but they try to tell us through the movie Back to the Future in a certain way. But the thing is, it's not just a ground thing. And that's why, you know, a lot of these buildings, like the Space Needle and stuff, these are portals. They're machines. And so, blow your mind, think about it a little bit more. Do I leave it there? No, touch more about the portal. Bear with me. The thing is, it's like right now Jesus is saying, I'm in a pinch, I'm in a pinch. For people who understand more about witches and demons and vampires and how that actually translates to people in human form, what our roots are, okay, he's interrupting me. There's a lot to say, and he's in a pinch because the thing is, there are people that, if you watch the movie Push, they present it a certain way, but all those characters, these are the type of abilities, in a sense, people have. They can push you. You can push your mind. That's why some people are like, why the fuck did I do that? Or they say, oh, that person was possessed. A high enough powered sorcerer, wizard, whatever, could push them. Now, there's a lot of control we still have. So like, just like, oh, they made me kill somebody. No, you know, you can pull yourself up out of it. But the thing is, people might do unsavory things, and like, dang, I wouldn't normally do that, because they were pushed, you know, and they didn't repeat it again because they were pushed. They got caught in a vulnerable moment, whether it was alcohol or not at all. Mind out of control. But what he's bringing up to me is, so this lady gave me those masks, and because my history and roots go back to Kamehameha, who was like basically like a great uncle to me. And I was told about inheriting why I'm here in Hawaii, as far as these are my roots, as far as claim. To say the least, and that might sound crazy, but to rule. There hasn't been a ruler since Kamehameha, because and if you look at his old pictures, he looks like he's got some African descent, not what Hawaiians are, but if you look at like black samurai back in the day, and Japanese women, there's plenty that they are black, very black, dark skin, like African American even, but like Asian looking eyes. That's how people here develop mixing with the Maori. Okay, and that's a whole nother thing. But Kamehameha lifted a stone that people can't believe he lifted a stone, because he's ET. And his claim were these islands, and they haven't really been claimed since he died, and most of his extensions had messed it up, is my understanding. All through, there's 5 of the Kamehamehas, and the 5th and the 1st are not too happy with the ones in between, is my understanding. Bottom line is, not a descendant directly of Kamehameha, but that is part of my lineage. And that's why I was brought here to the Hawaiian Islands. Now, is that it? Was there something? Yeah. So what I was told was, with all these celebrities that, okay, all the celebrities that were, I requested help from, this was their way out of darkness, because I was shown this movie called Left Behind, and there's 2 parts to it. It's an old 80s movie, apparently, and this whole great vanishing. And basically, so with these portals, with things having to be in a certain space and time, there's a time where Jesus and certain ancestors, Kamehameha, and some other ancestors, I've been told, many of them, my understanding is 2,300 or more, I don't know, are coming back. But it's like, when they say the mothership, they're not playing. So it's like, but because it's a portal, it's not like, and dealing with compression and whatnot, our bodies have to be ready for it. So they're trying to get us ready for it consciously, our bodies ready to handle the ascension. And if you're not found by your ancestors, well, when that mothership comes and people vanish and people are like, where the fuck are they? You know, sometimes people go hiking and like they never came back. There's no remains or whatnot. It's because they either found a portal, and whether just following instinct, as some people call it, and disappeared, their family came and got them. You know, they were found, you know. My understanding is all this world is going to shit because of my position in this world. I was told of, like, I know I'm kind of all over the place. Before I started seeing Starbucks and Google and Facebook, I was told they owe me. And I didn't really understand what Jesus meant, like they owe me, until he started revealing more about who and what I am. And he started telling me, I'm going to take this place out, that place out, this place is going to have an earthquake, this place is going to have a flood, you know, and it was so, and it's still happening. And he said, as long as they keep attacking me remotely, meaning my body, he's going to keep tearing the world apart. As long as they don't pay me, he's going to keep tearing the world apart. If they keep obstructing me from, like, social benefits, which is the minimal, and not paying me, then he's going to tear the world apart. And that's exactly what he's been doing. And when he showed me how Google, he kept telling me the French owe you, and they've been spying on you through your phone, through your everything. I'm like, yeah, but isn't that common? And he's like, yes, but you're under divine protection. You're bought and paid for. That's when I started learning about the bought and paid for. And I was like, okay, but if I'm under divine protection, why am I not being paid? He's like, well, basically he paid the ransom, but they're literally trying to kill me because I'm the book of life. Meaning I'm the book of knowledge and life. So the knowledge is the life. I can show people how to get up out of this place. I can help them connect and find their ancestors, and basically representing the tree of life and the book of life, the book of knowledge. And so the thing is, apparently only one person gets to have the connection to the all. And when I do make my transformation and metamorphosis, I will know everything, apparently. And so that would be very incriminating to all the ancients that have kept us sick from way thousands of years back, that have sent people here, that have snatched people from their bodies. I will know everything, so I will be able to connect people with who they need to be connected with, their divine partners. I will be able to heal. I'll be able to do a whole lot of, well, I'm like, stuff doesn't sound right, but I will be able to accomplish a lot for the universe, not just this planet. And so, yeah, okay, I gather, if you guys have seen any of my other videos, why so many people have been after me, and yet I'm still being divinely protected, but you can't help the remote stuff. You know, I can only get healed. I don't know if that's when he teleports in and, you know, I get knocked out and I feel the tinglies and I get some restoration. I don't know all of that, you know. My understanding is he's been in hiding. He's been trying to keep me in hiding and not disclose exactly who I am, but he has. And the French have messed up, the Italians, and the Japanese mainly. But there's the Koreans, the Vietnamese, Chinese, Africa. That's why Africa started splitting in half, is what he told me. Because it was interesting, before I knew this Africa split in half, he showed me how Big Island was going to take on the shape of Africa once all the volcanoes go off. And he showed me how, and the outlets and where it will come up out in the ocean. The bottom line is, if y'all seen my videos and whatnot, there's a lot of people that were supposed to have been here because it's a freaking portal. There's a lot of portals on this island. And I try to lead people to me. I take them on a journey. Teach them how to connect. This goes for even my own sisters here from Earth. And no one took me up on it. But I'm told they will all come and they will all arrive when all this stuff starts happening, and Washington gets jacked up, and Oregon gets jacked up, and California gets jacked up. You know, I've been knowing all of this and told the best thing I can do is relax because of all the spiritual warfare attacks. I'm gonna need that rest to get through it and heal it. But the thing is, if all of them had come forward before, then I could have been in safer places. They could have been in safer places. We could have been restoring the food with minimal money. I could have raised their consciousness, and when the mothership comes, they would have been found. I can't say I know what will happen for them all now. But I know it's all gonna come to head. And when I was told about the witches in Washington, and everyone owing me, it's just started happening really fast. I'm seeing lawsuit for Google, lawsuit for Facebook, and now Starbucks is closing down like 400 plus stores because they owe me. And we're not talking about just because of this realm. It's who and what I am to this realm, my part in the universe, what I've been outside of the universe, the wealth they've stolen from me, my own family and the beyond has stolen from me and Jesus. That's why I said, he had me saying I'm a beyond billionaire. And I at first I didn't understand why, but I believed him. I felt them, like, you know, I just have this expensive taste, and I just know I'm not from here, you know. I know I'm destined for this. You say I'm destined for this, I believe it. It feels like that's my normal way of life. Even my older sister, one time she asked me, why do people always want to take care of you? I'm like, but I take care of them too. But they usually had more money than I. But it didn't mean I didn't work a 9 to 5. It didn't mean that I didn't apply myself to the company that I worked for and my relationship. Oh, I gave a lot. Plus a lot of good loving, you know. So it was interesting because I always looked at the energy of my family as royals. But that's how he would present it, or emperors. So I'm like, dang, everyone in my Earth family, we have this emperor, like, you know, independence and whatnot. And as my story got revealed to me, my remembrance, it was like, because you are. So your duty is to only speak and deal with royals. You are leading the royals back to the light. You're a tracker. You're a shaman. You're a healer. So you go get them and you bring them back. And there's debts and taxes. You need to just do it, because the debts and taxes are handled in the beyond, and then they make sure we get taken care of down here. But the problem is, they weren't taking care of me. And their wretched children were abusing me through it. So here we are, and I think that's just a bit long. No, I'm not. Sorry, this is not yet. A couple more things. So the whole thing about being on Earth, so when people start to go crazy or feel like they're going crazy, it's the vampires. Let's just be plain simple. Because the thing is, they don't have babies. So that's why there's people are mixed, and there is they're hybrids or triple bloods or quadruple bloods, is because demon, vampire mixed with a human, meaning the human, there's a lot to say about what makes a human. Basically a person without power, okay? They came here from the beyond, they didn't have any power because they hadn't earned it. Powers are earned, okay? Status is earned. So they can mix with humans, but they can't mix with each other. So they interfere with a lot of the lives of the people coming here, whether they're falsely imprisoned or being sent to banishment, so they can continue having slaves down here, okay? And say you're a hybrid and you become one of these Hollywood actors, you're still gonna work for it because you're not 100% their purity. So you're not like 100% vampire. You might come from witch line and vampire, right? Doesn't mean you're a bad person because you're a vampire, but a lot of vampires, they've been banished here because a lot of them are parasitical beings. They live off of literal blood from, that's why you see these stories of having fangs or not, but I'm not saying it's necessarily done that way, but they live off of a human being. They live off of us. So whether they live off of our energy or our literal body, our flesh, our blood, they keep us from meeting our divine partners. So what it's like, they connect their kids basically with one of us. They push, and you'll see, if you look it up, I got taken to Miss Haley, Justin Bieber's wife, and whether the post was fake or not, I don't think it was presented as fake. I'm told it's very real. She's basically talking to the interviewer like, yeah, I have this vial and it's got it's of blood, and she was taken to some witches when she was younger, and basically to make the union with Justin. What I'm told is Selena Gomez is his divine partner, so it's a real shame that this world has kept them divided, that they found each other very early, and it's too bad that they, either one of them or both, didn't walk a clean path to stay together, because they are divine partnerships. But what happens is demons and vampires, they come in and with witchcraft, and they push these relationships together to evolve their lineage, right? And then if they keep us from meeting our divine partners of light, you know, they're still in power. The darkness is still in power and control. So imagine if Justin Bieber and Selena were uninfluenced by that Hollywood world, and they didn't both sell their souls, because they both did, I'm told, and it's pretty obvious. Justin, I think, is a recruiter at this point, which is really sad. And I think maybe he does it just to get by. Because, I mean, imagine there's really bad gangsters out here, let alone that gangster's a freaking vampire, demon energy, you know, E.T. with powers that go beyond what you could even think or fathom, okay? It's like, if you can't beat them, join them. They all joined them, right? They're not proud of it. They do drugs. They get, you know, they're lost. Now, these ETs push us into the, like me with Maria, me with Isabel, they push us into them to keep us trapped in darkness, because they know that they can create enough havoc between the two and dark, the Marias and the Marias and Isabels, they have enough darkness that they're gonna take someone like me out, you know, even temporarily helps facilitate what they got going, gets them paid with, say, Maria and Isabel's ancestors and the beyond, that don't want them getting up out of earth. It's just like they take a bad kid and put him with the good kid. It's like, yes, get married. We're arranging this because we're going to control the light. And that's how they control their light. they put one of the bad kids with one of the good kids, and the bad kids just keep cycling through us, and reproduction happens, and the big dogs live off of the hybrids, the triple bloods, and the light. So was that it? So listen. Back and forth. Sorry, back and forth. Oh, so it just keeps the reincarnation going. We don't leave Earth. We get stuck here. And the ETs that gets, they're here. So it's like in different dimensions though. So the ETs, the 1%ers, they have income because the Galactic Federation's watching so hard, right? But at the same time, they can't get up out of here because you got bad members in the Galactic Federation, just like you do with the police department or anything else. So it's this whole freaking racket that's happening in the universe that happens here on Earth. And when we are lost, meaning consciously we don't know who or what we descend from, and we don't connect telepathy with our people in the beyond, we may never be found, and we just get reincarnated down here. A lot of us in a body that's not even our original body. So, with like remotely, okay, so with our communication, you have to be careful. Is that, okay. Yeah. You gotta be careful. That's why it's like, even for me, with all I know, with me following energy, the divine inside, before I could talk, it's hard. Because just as open as you are to the light, it's like a telephone line. They're open to the darkness too, but we're in their realm here on Earth, and they can do a lot to confuse us. But if we take care of each other and we have forgiveness and understanding that somebody's under spiritual attack, spiritual warfare, and we feed each other when we need to feed each other, we help each other figure things out, we can get home. We can learn. Even if we fall, we got some support. We can survive and make it home, but that's the whole divide and conquer. You don't understand what I'm talking about, look it up. Look the phrase up, term up. Divide and conquer. They've done a very great job of it with their families, with ourselves, and the more, sometimes like, yes, we need to isolate, but if we're isolating because of hateful people in our lives, this system that they designed is not made for us to survive alone. And if we can't afford to be sick and heal without having to go to a 9-to-5 and have a community to help us do that, we're fucked. And you ain't getting home. Nobody's getting home. And trust me, this ain't the glorious life that you want to be here on Earth. This is not it. It's all foolery. And all these actors, most of them are narcissists. Most of them seek vanity. They sold themselves to sell a dream to all of us. And really, if they were telling the truth, what they would be saying is, yeah, I pimped myself out and I got to get whatever I want because I knew how to ask for what I want. And you can do the same thing. And that's why I'm not going to help you. But if you want what I want, go open your legs or bend over for somebody, or open your mouth for somebody and let them beat you, let them rape you, and you can have what you want too. Hopefully you get a good deal, and hopefully you get a nice rapist. That's would be the truth, but they're all not telling us that, because a lot of them are vampires. A lot of them are hybrids that are being used like slaves too, like Jennifer Lopez, like Chris Brown. They're being used to lure everybody into unsacred acts, distract them with the party. Like it's not a big deal, but it is, because you're a lot weaker when you don't have your divine partnership. And if you don't get up out of here, you may never get your divine partner, because your divine partner may not be here. They may be back home, or they might be stuck in the middle realm. And until we all pull it together, the ETs in the middle realm, like Jesus, I'm told like a lot of singers like Tupac, well, I can't say Tupac, it's kind of, that one's still iffy. I don't really get a lot of, but like Selena, Whitney Houston, they're all in the middle realm. Some of them that have faked their death, they're very much like in this realm, which is, it's all still like Earth, but it's like Twilight. Vampires come out at night, right? Well, it's kind of like that. Like we don't see them. They're in different dimensions. They're in limbo, the in-between, you know. They can come in and come out. Some of them teleport, but not all of them. I mean, there's a lot to I'm still learning. So until people start to take care of each other truly and help each other out, which is, everyone's going to be forced into that anyway, if you look at the destruction of the world. And it sucks that it had to go down like this, because I reached out to people with resources to change it all. But where someone like Jennifer was getting better, she all of a sudden regressed and was like, good girl gone bad, and I'm gonna do whatever I want, you know. And it was like she was getting on the right track, and then I don't know what the fuck, you know. It was like 10 steps back. And then I didn't even know what was shown about Tyler at first. Everyone had opportunity. I was like, when I show up, it's the last chance. And you take your opportunity or not. It's what they call like a quantum leap. And because I'm just as commoner, they don't see it. And some of them, I didn't directly, like Tyler, I didn't go to him. But I was told Divine brought him to me. So they've either seen me in the capacity of one of these videos, and more. And just as I received the whispers from the Divine till it got loud, they received theirs. But you know, many people, it's kind of like the kid who stole the cookie. If you don't smack his hand in the moment, right? He don't and then now you, or let's say a dog, we don't speak the same language, right? Like us with our ancestors, we gotta learn to speak the language with each other. We gotta build a language. Let's say like with a dog freaking, while you're gone, took a cookie off the table. And you come back and you start hollering at the dog. And the dog's like, what the fuck? What? The dog don't even know anymore why it could guess. Is it because the cookie? You know what I mean? That's how people are. So if it's like, even though they're adults, because they were able to carry on so long with this foolery and make money, they thought as they were blessed by God, which they were, but God of darkness. The all of darkness, not the all of light. Because the all of light cares about the dark and the light. And the restoration of all in peace and love. The God gods of darkness. They're just there to use and eat you up. And they gave into the darkness. Whether they think that they're kind and loving, you know, I hate to take it there with Jennifer so hard, but she was one of the main ones I was led to. And I told her, I was told to get this, and I didn't want it to get to this. And we're finally here after, like, I think 3 years now. And, or almost 2.5. And, she's out there presenting like, oh, she's spreading love, she's spreading lust wrapped with love. But I guarantee you, she was on the street dancing and singing and wasn't showing her body and her sexuality, she probably wouldn't have nearly as many fans. And then I was also told that it's like she had something to prove, and when she went overseas for all her shows, she still didn't sell out. She had to sell her tickets very low. That's what Divine tells me. And that's why she started having sold out concerts. One way or another, this person who's presented herself to be very real has been very fake, and she's lived a life of putting on movies about a hopeless romantic. And it's like, well, when are you gonna stop doing that? If you believe in manifestation, well, you done a good job, because if all you do is keep acting and doing shows that you're that person that can't never find real love, well, yeah, because she's misled a lot of people in this world, because the truth is, in some way she prostituted herself, and that's why she got where she's at. She didn't get there because she was lucky. She didn't just get there because she just worked hard. She worked hard at spreading lust. She worked hard at being dishonest and selling an American dream. That American dreams are fucking bullshit. They're just bullshit. And she's just another one that presented it like, go after what you want, do whatever you want. And you think that God of light is saying do whatever you want? No. It's saying, God of light is saying you guys have missions so you can get up out of that place that you're in. Don't follow the few that are up there like Chris Brown and Jennifer Lopez selling a bunch of lust. They don't really have happy lives, but they want everybody to think it. Their happiness comes through a cup of courage or a blunt or a pill. So I leave it there. And the reality is, even with these YouTube videos, as I was told by Divine and shown through a guy that I had befriended, he couldn't, or on Instagram and YouTube, he's like, dang, I'm pressing like, and you're right, you are blocked. And I said, I wouldn't have known all these years without you testing that for me. I knew something wasn't right, because like my earth mother passed, and my twin sister does a slideshow, and there's 1,000 views, and it's not no algorithm bullshit. Yeah, I have a song that and a video that can bring someone to tears. The few people I show what I do, and they're also like, what are you doing? It's like, because it's not just an algorithm thing. I'm literally being blocked, and that's also why the French owe me. You know, so Instagram, Facebook, Google, all of them, YouTube, all owe me, because they've been blocking me. And all these celebrities I reached out to didn't share. They didn't reach out, they didn't reach back. So a lot of us are out here being blocked from our own riches. A lot of us are being blocked from most of us are being blocked from our transformations. So live righteous, help each other out, and not just anybody, you know what I mean? Like helping just because you help doesn't make the difference. Make sure you're helping somebody that you should be helping. And you know that because you're connected with the divine. And that person's not abusive. And that person is supportive, whether it's just energetically, kindness. But, you know, there's a lot of ungrateful people receiving help that choose to live on the street, and they're wretched. You don't go helping that. You don't fuel the enemy and fuel the killers. So I'll leave it there. Peace, love, and so many great things all over the righteous. Till next time.